title this morning is Cause or FX. I'll tell you a little bit more about what that means in a few minutes, but let's talk about the language of metaphysics. See, the science of mind teaching turns on the notion that there exists in the universe a law of cause and effect. So in our language, cause is God and effect is everything in manifestation, including humankind, the natural world, the material world, even the conditions in our lives. Everything in manifestation is effect. And as metaphysicians, we tend to structure our belief system in terms of those two words, cause and effect. Whether we're consciously aware of it or not, our philosophy compels us to understand life in terms of this paradigm, doesn't it? So how many of you think in terms of cause and effect but don't know you're doing it? That's a trick question. How many of you think in terms of cause and effect and you know that you're doing it? Yeah, right. Everything pretty much. Now, how many of you like to use what you know about cause and effect on other people? So a friend calls and says, "Oh, I've got the flu," and you say, "No, you don't. That's an effect." "Oh, I lost my job." "Oh, no, you didn't. That's effect." What about when other people use it on us? That's a little bit different. Recently, a friend of mine was working with her 8-year-old daughter, trying to inspire her to clean up the mess in her room. So she says to the little darling, "Sweetie, your room is so cluttered. Do you think we could clean it up?" And this 8-year-old child says, "Oh, Mom, that's just effect. I swear, there is no clutter in the mind of God." See, this is what happens when we send our children to junior church at a Center for Spiritual Living. They learn the truth, and then they tell that truth back to us. Yeah, there's no clutter in the mind of God. Of course there's not. So, for the most part, we are very well acquainted with the phraseology of cause and effect. And it's probably rare that we think of cause without immediately thinking about effect. And vice versa, right? One presupposes the other. Like salt and love and marriage. Arsenic and old lace. Okay, cause and effect. You can't have one without the other. Can't have one without the other. So again, cause is God and effect is manifestation. Now, there's only one cause, but there is a lot of effect. It's everywhere in massive amounts. And there are billions of other people besides us taking it all in from their own unique vantage point. They're seeing it and feeling it and experiencing it in their own unique way. All this effect. So this is the idea I want us to explore a little more carefully today, that we all have our own highly specialized interpretation of effect, our own individualized perception of it. So with that in mind, I want to introduce a third term into the mix, which is special effects, or FX, like in the movies, right? Special effects. So we'll look at all three of these components sequentially and in greater depth. And we'll begin with cause, because everything begins with cause, doesn't it? It's first. It's always the beginning. And our claim that there is a power for good in the universe points directly to cause, doesn't it? Cause is the power that gives rise to all creation. It's the infinite intelligence of the universe, the ultimate reality, the divine essence, the spirit of life. In the Science of Mind textbook, Dr. Holmes writes, "There is a universal mind, spirit, intelligence that is the origin of everything. It is first cause. It is God. This universal life energy finds an outlet in and through everything that lives." Everything that lives. So nothing gives rise to itself. Nothing appears randomly, manifests spontaneously of its own volition. Everything in existence must be thought into being. There's one original thinker, and that is God. And that is the source of all existence. So our lives and everything in them are created by this one source through the channel of our thought. We have a very important role to play. Again, Dr. Holmes, our thought is the use we make, consciously or unconsciously, of this original creative thing that is the cause of everything. Now, if you want to learn more about cause and effect, and do this through some quotes from Dr. Holmes, get out your Science of Mind textbook and start at page 1 and read all the way through to the very end, because the whole book is about cause and effect. So we'll have quite a number of compelling quotes today. So he says that we're doing this either consciously or unconsciously. Now, it's better to do it consciously, right? That goes without saying, but sometimes we still go off track because it's pretty easy for us to be drawn in by our sense perception. We believe what we see, we believe what we feel, we believe what we hear. So our 5 senses report information to us that's believable because it's tangible. So it seems real to us. And if we don't know better, and even if we do, but we've temporarily forgotten, it may seem logical to suppose that physical things have a physical source, right? For example, we might think that money comes from our job, or that our wellness comes from doctors or medicine, or that love comes from other people. And we might even be able to argue our case effectively because there is evidence we can point to. See, that medicine made me well. See, here's my paycheck. I'm putting it in the bank. See, my family loves me. Okay? On the surface, this proof might even be more convincing than the metaphysicians' claim that wealth, health, and love actually come from an invisible source. Ooh, that's why they sometimes call us woo-woo, I think, even though they're thinking of someone else, not us, because we're intelligent, we're scientific, there is no woo-woo. The bottom line is this, though. We can't see God, can we? We just can't. No one ever has, and no one ever will. Dr. Holmes puts it this way: we do not see life, we experience living. Causation is invisible, okay? Well, what about all the visible stuff then? What do we call that? That's effect, right? And effect always follows cause. Effect does not create itself. It's engendered by the creative power of the universe that is cause to all existence. Everything in the manifest universe is effect. Everything we apprehend with our senses is effect. Now, that's not to say that it isn't spiritual. We're not saying that effect is not a good thing. It can be a very good thing. We're not saying that it's not spiritual. See, divine spirit is the one and only life. And divine spirit gives rise to and encompasses all expressions of life. Therefore, everything must be spiritual. It can't be anything else. Both cause and effect are spiritual. Where we run into trouble is when we confuse effect with reality. Effect is real. Make no mistake about it. But it is not reality with a capital R. There's a difference. Again, science of mind. We are not to separate life from living or God from its creation. One is the cause, the other the effect. The invisible things of God are manifest through the visible. And unless our invisible thought and desire is in line with truth, our acts will fall into error. We must not fall under the illusion of accepting the false as true. So what is he saying? We shouldn't be seduced by effect into thinking it's reality. And this happens sometimes. Sometimes it happens a lot. Some of you know my very, very dear friend, Dr. Maureen Hoyt, who's pastor of the Westlake Village Center in Southern California. And Maureen frequents a Mexican restaurant that has a 2-story foyer with a mural on the back wall. And it depicts the sky and clouds and trees. Now, in front of this mural, there are other real plants and trees and some artificial ones, so they're all mixed in together. And it creates the illusion of depth and of walking into nature and an open sky. One afternoon when Maureen was there, a bird flew into the restaurant and slammed right into that wall. And it was stunned, so it perched on one of the real trees for a few minutes, and it recovered, and then tried to fly through the sky wall again, and it kept hitting its head. It's kind of like life, right? We beat our head against the wall, and we don't get anywhere, and we wonder why not. But it seems so real. So one of the waiters in the restaurant told Maureen that birds frequently do fly into the restaurant, and quite often they just continue going and they hit the wall. Sometimes the staff are able to coax them back outside, and sometimes they're not. So the bird keeps trying and trying to fly into this illusion of sky, and sometimes they do it until, well, they're no longer living, unfortunately. So they go on to their next expression, never having gotten where they thought they were going in the sky. Yeah, it's kind of sad. And that happens for us. In fact, sometimes even before we realize it, we find ourselves in the clutches of effect, unable to break free. And even if someone tries to turn us toward truth, we are determined to stay there. We don't necessarily align with truth, even when it's made available to us. So we've talked about cause and we've talked about effect. Now let's talk about special effects. See, effect is projection, isn't it? And special effects are projection at a higher level, on a grander scale, in full color. Yeah, they're way more vivid than just plain old effect. I moved to Los Angeles in May of 1993. And in June, the theme park at Universal Studios opened the ride based on the Back to the Future movies. Remember those? It's funny, it's so long ago, Back to the Future. So I was new in town, and they couldn't wait to take me there and show me a good time, and they knew that I loved rides. And I have to say, the ride was fantastic. It really was. And the line was long, and we were in the line forever. And when we finally got to the front, we climbed into a DeLorean time machine. You remember those from the movie? And we were catapulted ahead to the year 2015. Now today that doesn't sound very far away. It's not. It's 3.5 years from now. But 18 years ago, that was quite a stretch. So no sooner do we get to the year 2015 in pursuit of Biff the villain, we are taken backward in time about 20,000 years to the Ice Age. And it was really cold. And our vehicle was damaged in an avalanche. And no sooner did we recover from that, we go back another 80 to 100 million years to the Cretaceous period. And we're going down into a volcano, and the DeLorean is swallowed by a Tyrannosaurus Rex. And then spit back out into a river of lava. And in the electrifying final moments, we are plunging over the edge of this lava river back through the wormhole to the present day. All of this happened in 4.5 minutes. And afterwards, as realistic as the ride felt, none of us actually believed we had gone somewhere, right? We knew it was a ride. We knew it was special effects. So we didn't go home and call people and recount the experience to them. I can see it now. Mom, you'll never guess what happened today. I was attacked by a dinosaur. Well, honey, I told you not to move to Los Angeles. Mom always knows best. Now, it sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? But in real life, we sometimes do a version of this that is every bit as outrageous. We do. There are times when we allow our focus to stray so far from cause that we get to effect and keep going. In cases like this, we don't stop at conditions. Oh, no, 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 no. We blast right through until we're light years away from cause. We are operating at the level of special effects when we have separated ourselves from truth